In this game, we're going to try to understand 7 different types of mental illnesses. Each one will become its own world, with its own rules and experiences. But before we get to the everyday ones, I want to start with something a bit lighter, something that many people deal with in their everyday life. Let's talk about ADHD. I started with the ability to walk, which is important for most games. I added some basic texture for the floor. Of course, it will be important to add some boundaries or walls. I didn't do it that well. After fixing the walls, I added some hallway and a door. So there will be a goal and something that you need to accomplish. As you can see, you can just walk through my beautiful door, so it's not really a door. And I added some rooms. I have a plan for them later. Of course, I had to make my door actually functional. The door is working great, no one can get in or out. So only in a few lines. What is ADHD? It's not just being distracted. It's the brain's struggle to regulate attention, impulse and energy. Sometimes it feels impossible to focus on one thing, and in other moment you're locked in to something so deeply that the world just disappears. Back to the game, the other thing I wanted to add is an obstacle. Because we're talking about ADHD, I wanted something that will take your attention. So I added some posters, and every time you're going near the posters, you're basically forced to look at them, which is supposed to represent the idea behind you can't focus on one thing. I made some fun posters that actually related to the idea of ADHD. I have a couple of options, however if you have a good idea, please write in the comments. Then I started to work on the code that actually opened the door. As you can see, I can't walk to the door without looking at the posters. Currently the code is working, which fun and all, but I don't have numbers on the code. You can try as many times as you want. There isn't an animation. There is still a lot of things that can go better with the door. But for the basics, it's fine. Of course I had to add the numbers, and I added a little board that will show the code, which I think it's necessary because I don't like the numbers just written on the wall. Of course you can't reopen the door after you open the door, which eliminates a lot of bugs later. Now I made some animation to make it look like an actual game, and the door won't just disappear. It won't disappear, but apparently it can go through the wall. After that I started working on an inventory, which is important to a game with puzzles and stuff. The inventory still needs work, but I built a dining room, which is cute, and one of our first items is over here. I fixed the stupid white cube that took me like 6 hours. I'm definitely not a big fan of bugs that are in the UI. I had to improve the inventory, so there will be a description. There is something, I don't know what will be the something, but there is something. And for the first item that actually important to the game, I did just put a note. From now on, I don't think I will show you the solution for the game. But if you will be sharp enough, I believe you can understand what is the code. While I was working on the office, I think it's important to have a desk and some place you can actually work on. I did just pretty much do the same thing for both sides. I will improve it of course and add something that will help you solve the puzzle. As promised, I added some couple of important posters that will take your attention. Some of them is just a glimpse to the end of the level, some of them actually helps you solve the puzzle, and some of them are just distractions. We got to the point of the video that I will just head up and fix what's need to be fixed, and add a lot for the atmosphere of the game, and then we'll do a run through. I started by trying to make the game more realistic, with this new piano music that I made for this level, and all the changes in the lights. I increased how much the posters actually make you look, because I wanted the game to be a little bit harder, and at the same time, I wanted the game to be a little bit annoying. As you get to this point, you understand how to open the menu, which opens a lot of new options and help you solve the puzzle. And at the same time, one more thing that it will teach you is that you can receive information in the posters. I don't know how I feel about it. but I do have just 2 items for this level. It's basically a starting level which teaches you how to play the game, and also for me it's kind of a pilot. There is not a lot of room to explore, which is supposed to say the answer is between those rooms. You don't need to run around endless maze and try to understand what are you doing wrong. I do like it cause my idea is not to make a game like Elden Ring. The game isn't supposed to be hard, you just need to empathize. How hard is it to do simple tasks with all those thoughts? Currently there is only 2 cutscenes. One if you'll win the game, and 2 if you lose the game. Let's say you understand the code, you can definitely go and try. You have an endless amount of times. Let's just blur this part for you.
ADHD isn't about not being able to focus. It's about not being able to control what you focus on. It can be a challenge or a strength, depending on how you learn to work with it.
Now let's say you are running out of time. This is the cutscene. I fixed the warning to look a little better in the 10-second mark.
You are late again? How many times I can tell you to get home in time? I'm doing everything in this house. You are not a kid anymore. You need to get your shit together.
Don't get me wrong, I think it can be much polished than that. However, I think it will be a good end of the first devlog. I think we can go on and on by trying to make things better